On this Middlesex County, New Jersey edition of Let's Explore This, we are going to be in Jamesburg. This intersection here is where Railroad Avenue, in that direction, turns into Buckalew Avenue in that direction. Here, we need to make a right. Folks, just a very short distance down Buckalew Avenue, you will come across this intersection, the one with Pergola Avenue. And folks, this is where we need to be. You see that mansion? The one right there? Yes, that is going to be the focus of this episode. It was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1979. Yup, this is the document for it, from which the information for this episode has been culled. Unfortunately, though, at the time this episode was compiled, the Buckalew, or Lakeview, as it is also called, was closed, reportedly for a large-scale preservation and restoration project. Therefore, I doubt there is any way I can get inside. So, for interior photos, if needed, depending on what the document discusses, whatever photos I can find will have to do. However, this mansion, it is the site of the Jamesburg Historical Association. Yes, they do have a website, and on that website do appear to be a number of interior shots. Now, this episode, it is not going to delve that deeply into the history of the town of Jamesburg. In order to not be redundant, the history of that town, its mills, and even much of James Buckalew's life, is more fit for an episode on the town of Jamesburg. So, this episode, it is going to revolve strictly around an architectural investigation. Of course, the most important owner of this mansion, from 1832 to 1869, was in fact James Buckalew, for whom the town of Jamesburg was named. Furthermore, what was once his house is located in the center of Jamesburg, near the site of the mill its former owners operated. So, presently, Lakeview is an L-shaped building with a side wing. This configuration is the result of a series of additional construction projects extending from the 18th century through the third quarter of the 19th. The oldest part of the structure is the two-story rear L. That L, well, it presently consists of 2 rooms on the first floor with a chimney between them. These rest almost directly on the ground and have noticeably low, approximately 7-foot floor-to-ceiling heights on the first floor. The second-story rooms, they project over these on both the northwest and the southeast fronts, supported on log posts. The larger of the rooms on the first floor, though not sure if this is what is pictured here, may have been the core of an original 1-room, 1.5-story house. It has 2 entrances with board and batten doors, 1 on each front. That is to the southeast, flanked by a window with 6/6 sash on each side. The door on the opposite side, it is reportedly flanked by a window and a door giving access to a storage room. The northeast wall It is occupied by a large cooking fireplace with an iron crane and an adjacent oven. An iron crane, an adjacent oven. Possibly, this could be it. And the smaller room to the northeast, likely around this area, well, it has a shallow fireplace surrounded by simple board molding that shares the same chimney. Could that be that simple board molding? The two in effect, they form a hall and parlor plan. Yes, the circled part does show that. However, it also shows something else. Now, I don't think this photo represents that section of the house. In fact, it seems more in line with this circled part right here. The wall in the middle is cut away, which may correspond with a section of wall missing here. Not sure, though, given this diagram is from the late 1970s. Of course, yes, some aspects of this 1970s document today may very well have been changed over the past decade or two. Now, the main section of the house, oriented southwest and facing the road, it was originally a 2 or 2.5-story house with an adjacent 2-bay wing. It is of frame construction and rests on a stone foundation. Stone foundation? This looks brick to me. Not sure if there is any stone underneath there. Not sure if the stone was at some point replaced by brick. Not sure, but the cellar, divided by brick partition walls, exhibits hewn joists, bearing beams, and heavy arched brick chimney supports. Yes, these are construction details typical of the late 18th and early 19th centuries, and yes, consider yourself lucky I was able to find cellar photos. Overall, in plan, the house consists of a center hall flanked by 2 rooms on each side. Reportedly, in the late 1970s, those rooms, to the right on the first floor, were being connected by sliding doors. I wonder if those still exist. Surviving details are also suggestive of a date not later than the first quarter of the 19th century. Among these is the doorway, with its delicate transom and sidelights framed by slender pilasters with knife-edged reeded moldings. Also, both exterior and interior lintels show a bowed central portion. All of this combines to structure a form common to federal mantel shelves in central New Jersey. Similar knife-edge moldings do appear on door and window frames in the rooms to the right of the hall. So, could this be one such door frame? Could that be knife-edged molding? Knife edge. I'm thinking a straight edge, likely raised. This could be, I guess. Other federal details include wooden mantels. Yes, this mantel here. It may have changed. As stated earlier, this is a historic photo from a 1970s document. And there are also said to be raised 6-panel doors, some with beaded paneling, between the hall and the rooms of the second floor staircase. This may not be the second floor, but do I see a 6-panel-like way back there? I mean, it's definitely got 2 panels on top. Also said to exist is a closet door with 3 raised panels in the west front room on the 2nd floor. Yes, that I could not seem to locate a photo of. There is also the profile of muntins on both the 1st and the 2nd floor. Now, finally, there is said to be some surviving simple beaded baseboards applied prior to paneling. There is that. That does kind of look like beaded baseboard. Despite photo quality, the top of it does appear a bit extruded and curving outward. In the 3rd quarter of the 19th century, a major remodeling brought the house to its present appearance. Additions included a 3rd story to the main section, construction of a 1-story conservatory adjoining the southeast gable, and a 1-story porch with Italianate posts thrown across the front end. The 3rd story was given the form of a deep cornice through the use of flush boarding. It is pierced by half-size windows between paired brackets. The conservatory. It is a glazed arcade with stilted segmental arches resting on simple pilasters and a bell-cast roof. On the interior, mantels in the principal rooms were replaced with central cartouche and marble and marbleized slate. Yeah, I did not find any photos of that either. The newelled stair rail with its turned balusters also dates from this renovation, as does the statuary niche at the turn of the stair. Statuary niche? I'm thinking of some kind of recessed opening, maybe? Yeah, I don't see that. Out of view, maybe? But lastly, the only surviving outbuilding on the property is a rectangular brick smokehouse. The only surviving outbuilding on the property? Really? Then what do we have down here? And I don't know, in building? It looks like a long garage to me. It doesn't exactly look new. Maybe it's a surviving outbuilding from like the 1700s or the 1800s. For some reason, it is not mentioned in the document. Was it here in the late 1970s? Not sure, but then, aside from the garage, we have over here, right next to the house, what is this? Some kind of pump house or something? What is this little thing over here? It's not mentioned either. Maybe it's a well house or a pump house. I don't know. Maybe an outhouse. Whatever it is, it's not attached. I guess it could be called an outbuilding. Now, for the final portion of this episode, from more recent history, your attention will need to be turned to this website, specifically the portion that discusses Lakeview. When this document was compiled in the late 1970s, the date of the house may or may not have been known. No date of construction did it provide. However, it appears to now be known that the original part of this house dates back to 1685. It was at that time a one-room house, Over the years, additional rooms were added. James Buckalew, he moved into the house in 1829 following his marriage. As his family size, with he and his wife having had 6 children, and prestige in the business community grew, he went on to expand the house. It came to include the 2-story front, which included, among other things, a wide center hallway, spacious double parlors, and a wide pillared veranda that overlooks Lake Manalapan. Various other additions were made over the years, including the 3rd story in the 1870s. Here is a more recent photo, and here is a historic photo. Yes, both do hold a wall break. Not sure, though, if they are the same area. Today, the house is, reportedly, a maze of 23 rooms, with many closets, pantries, chimney nooks, and cubby holes of various sizes and degrees of finish. Not only is Lakeview, or Buckalew, listed on the National Register, but in 1981, it was also listed on the State Register. James Buckalew, though, he died in 1869, and Mrs. Buckalew continued to live in Lakeview until her death in 1890. At that time, the house was purchased by the Paxton family. That family ran a boarding house at the site until the property was sold to the borough of Jamesburg in 1979. And in that same year, the borough entrusted Lakeview to the care of the Jamesburg Historical Association. Today, the Historic Association maintains Lakeview as Jamesburg Museum. Many artifacts from Jamesburg's proud history are housed inside the museum. When the site is open to the public, one can see these and many other treasures while walking through the halls, the rooms, and the buildings and the grounds of Lakeview. Though the site does not appear to have been updated in years, their Facebook page does appear to be currently active, having, in 2022, documented a Christmas display. As stated earlier, the site is, at the time this episode was compiled, closed to the public. I imagine at some point in the near future it will once again be open. As this webpage clearly indicates, Lakeview Mansion is in need of repair. They are asking local craftsmen, electricians, plumbers, and more to help dedicate their time to preserving this gem. 'Cause, some people on social media are into the supernatural and ghost hunting adventures. Mo Sargi and Omar Gosh come to mind. Well, apparently, Lakeview Mansion, it is haunted. Lakeview Mansion. Yes, it might be an interesting place to spend the night, don't you think? Yes, I suppose it would be. That is, when it is open. As of right now, even if it were, I doubt I would have the time for that. Because, I have more sites to hit in Middlesex County. So, where is the next one going to be? Not sure. You will just have to wait for the next episode to find that out.